So in today's video, I'm going to be going over bounty hunting as a method for farming merits. And I'm going to be showing you kind of the best way to make the most merits possible while bounty hunting, and how to get a consistent supply of anacondas and pythons, which are going to have a high bounty value. So if you're used to bounty hunting, or if you're familiar with it already and you've been doing a lot of bounty hunting in, say, like a hazardous resource site, you know one of the problems is just even trying to find water ships to shoot at. Even if you're carrying cargo within your ship to attract pirates, sometimes you can be flying around in a haz-res for a while before you actually find any ships. And then when you do finally find some ships, more often than not, you're going to get a lot of smaller ships like Vipers and Cobras that are only going to be giving you 30 to 50 merits every once in a while. And then occasionally you'll find a unicorn of finding either a Clipper or Anaconda or a Python or Fertile Ant, something that's more worth shooting at. And this is a great method for combat-focused powers for expanding or acquiring new systems. As in most cases, power ship kills won't give you merits when you're in an acquisition system. And with rare commodities trading still being disabled, for combat-focused powers, it's not a lot of options for building merits quickly in acquisition systems. So this bounty hunting method is something that kind of helps out with that quite a bit. Now, as far as loadouts are concerned, it's just whatever ship and weapon loadout that you're most confident with and can kill the ships the fastest with. So we're going to quickly go over the ship build for doing bounty hunting. You can pretty much use any build that you feel comfortable with, any ship that you're most confident with, any hardpoint loadouts that you kind of prefer, and that you can kill the ships the fastest with. Just the most important thing to maximize your efficiency with the bounty hunting is to make sure you have a kill warrant scanner. I've only got a B-rated one here because it just fits my build power-wise. But if you have the extra power, you can go with an A-rated to get that range out a bit further. But I would recommend going at least a B-rated, so you have a minimum 3,500 meters of scan range. I know I've had quite a few people in the comments ask me about my build, specifically my cannons. I like cannons for myself personally because I just have fun with them. They're not necessarily the best weapon in the game. They do have a high skill curve to be competent with them. I use the same loadout for both PvE and PvP. So in my cannons, all the large cannons are all overcharged, oversized, except for one, which is Thermal Cascade. So that's what I have all my cannons with. And you can see when you do this with the oversized, you're getting just under 100 damage per shot. One important thing to note when you're looking at stat screens of weapons too, damage per second in most weapons is relatively irrelevant. The game, the way it calculates damage per second, is quite often not accurate because the game literally just takes rate of fire and times it by your damage per shot, and that's it. And an example of that would be if we look at, say, frag cannon. Look at my pacifiers, for example. It's going to show DPS of 366, which is actually not true. That's impossible to get that DPS because what it's taking is literally your actual damage per pellet times 12 pellets at times 4.5 shots per second. But there's not a possible way you're going to get 4.5 shots per second with a frag cannon, because a frag cannon by default has a 5-second reload time unless you do screening show, which will reduce that reload time by 50%. So that's still a 2.5-second reload time. So the reality is the actual firing rate of a frag cannon, unless you're doing screening shot, is 3 rounds per 6 seconds. And that actually brings this DPS down to, less than 100 DPS for a pacifier. So that's just one thing to keep in mind when you're looking at your weapons. A lot of people get distracted by this DPS number, thinking it's super high, and that's what they go with. So you're really only going to get 3 shots per second. There's no way to get more than that. So those are my cannons. Right now I'm running these pack hounds, and I have them with Thermal Cascade. Heat does nothing against NPCs, but against players, especially if they're running a build with really bad thermal efficiencies. High capacity with Thermal Cascade, you can ramp people up over 100% heat in one volley if they're running a thermally inefficient build. Normally I do run other cannons, and so the reason I use gimbaled cannons, sometimes in the mediums, or slots is because the shot speeds and cannons are quite a bit different. So if we look at the shot speeds of my larges here, it's 959 per second, meters per second. But if we go to the medium hardpoints and the cannons I normally use there, so if we want the fixed medium cannon, see the shot speeds 1051. That might not seem like a huge amount of a shot speed difference, but if you're in a turn fight or you're maneuvering quickly, you end up with two different reticles. And then you have to try and remember what reticle is for which weapon, and then you're aiming fixed weapons at two different reticles. So it's for that reason that I use gimbaled medium cannons. And then those medium cannons, I only have to focus on one reticle to shoot my fixed, and then these medium cannons are automatically shooting at the other. And that's the only reason why I use gimbaled. If the shot speeds weren't different, I'd be using fixed for all of them. I'll get asked mostly about the cannon, so I just wanted to cover that real quickly. I'm not going to cover the rest of my build, just to keep this video from getting too long. If there is interest to see the rest of the build, just let me know in the comments, and I can make a dedicated video at some point just going over every module within my build and how I have it engineered. So now I'm going to go over how and where to find the best instances for bounty hunting pirates. Now, the system that I happen to be doing this right now is LFT 709, but this can work in any system. You can find the closest system in whatever corner of the bubble that you're kind of playing the most. Now, as long as the power that you're pledged to shows bounty hunting on the local activities within this PowerPlay menu, you're going to get the most out of this. But if you don't see bounty hunting listed here in the system, you're not going to get as much merits, if any. Now, what we're looking for is for a system that has megaships or installations. Now, there are a lot of systems within the bubble that have either or even sometimes both. Now, searching in Inara for the megaships is not going to show you the right kind of megaships. Inara only lists ones that you can dock at. The type of megaships we want to be using, you cannot dock at. And they are very frequent within the bubble. You jump more than 1, 2, or 3 different systems, you're going to find one somewhere. Now, once you jump into a system, just take a quick glance at your navigation panel on your left side. Now, your megaships are going to be indicated by like a round marker, as I have marked here on the screen. And installations are kind of marked by like an X shape, which you can see by the marker I have on the screen now as well. Now, you can find these sort of pirate instances at both, but I find that the megaships actually have a better spawn rate of anacondas. Also, not every megaship in the game is going to have an instance of pirating. Some megaships are just kind of chilling there and sitting there, and all you can do is scan them. But I'd say the vast majority do have some sort of pirate instance. Now, the best way to tell if the megaship you found is actually going to have a pirating instance is to check the list of local activities after you've selected the megaship. And you can see here it shows mercenary work, but if that list was blank, then I wouldn't be spawning any pirating instances, and you can just ignore that megaship and find a different one. Now, once you have found an instance and you drop into it, the first thing you're going to do as soon as you drop in is just travel a little closer to the tanker, or whatever kind of megaship it happens to be. And once you get within range, it'll be very similar to the conflict zone. You'll get a notification telling you that a pirate attack is starting, and you can choose a side to either fight with the pirates or to defend a megaship against them. Now, sometimes you might have to wait just a little bit. It's usually not more than a minute or so, and then you'll get a notification to pick a side. You see, like right now, I just got this megaship helm. This is exactly what you're looking for. And then we're going to choose to repel the heist. That way it'll make all the pirates hostile to us, and we can start attacking them. Now, in the background, I'm going to play kind of like an edited highlight reel of the kills I got from doing 3 to 4 different instances. And then you can kind of get an idea of the amount of merits I'm getting from the kills and get an idea of the kind of ships I'm killing. Now, when you start this instance, you're going to have ships come in 4 waves, and you'll see on the top right hand corner of your screen the total number of kills that you're supposed to get per wave. And you'll go through 4 waves. I ignore all the smaller ships, the Vipers and the Cobras, etc. And I only target the Anacondas and the Pythons. And you're going to get Anacondas and Pythons in every wave. and you just focus on killing those, you get the most merits. And you'll see through the reels that I'm playing in the background here, it's that my kills can produce merits anywhere from around 400 merits, and I think in the clips you might see one that's around 700 merits. The highest payout I got for killing Anaconda was 976 merits. Unfortunately, I didn't get that captured in any footage. Now, once a instance is complete and you've defeated all 4 waves of ships, you don't have to leave the instance. You can stay in the instance, and after about a minute you'll get another notification of, again, saying that there's incoming pirates, and you choose to fight for one side or the other. And again, you just choose to fight for the pirates. So as long as you have ammunition, you can stay in this instance as long as you want, and it'll just keep resetting itself, and you just keep on re-choosing to defend against the pirates. Now, as far as merits per hour, this is kind of tough to measure because it really is relative to a lot of different circumstances. If you really want to power max your amount of merits you're making per hour, it would be best to do it in a wing. If you have a wing of 3 to 4 people and you can just destroy these ships in seconds, the Anacondas, the Pythons, a wing of 4 people, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to make anywhere between 30 to 50,000 credits per hour doing this in a wing with competent pilots. Now, if you're by yourself, that can vary widely. It all depends on your loadout and how quickly you're able to kill these ships, and as well as your skill level. So that's hard to measure. You can probably pull anywhere in between, on the low end, 10,000 credits per hour if you don't have a very capable or engineered ship. And if you're using meta weapons, you get a very capable ship, and you're a competent pilot, you can probably still pull in 30 to 40,000 credits per hour doing this method. It's just something that's tough to measure and say, this is how many credits you're going to make per hour, because there's so many variables that are in play here as far as weapon loadouts, your skill level, and the RNG of the bounties that are going to come with these ships. But with that being said, if you're going to bounty hunt for merits, this is still by far going to be your absolute best method. It is much better than any Haz-Res, because you're going to be getting constant supply of ships that are coming to you. They're going to be aggro to the mega ship. You don't have to fly around looking for them. And you're going to be able to pick the cream of the crop and target only Pythons and Anacondas for the highest payouts. So when it comes to bounty hunting for merits, there is no better method. Just the last thing I forgot to mention earlier in the video is to make sure you actually scan the ships with your kill warrant scanner. I didn't mention to make sure you equip it, but you just assign it to a fire group, and when you have a ship locked, you just hold the trigger down until the scan completes. And that's it for I have this added a video. We'll just finish off with the last couple of clips here of me highlighting some kills. And Happy New Year's, everybody, and hope everybody has a good 2025 and Elite Dangerous.